Papa told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA Finals. Let's go!
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 25 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host, Gabriel Chelio, sharing the mic with
Adam Casucci.
Okay, so today we have our Week 5 NBA recap. And once again, we kind of breaking it down series by series. But this week has been very interesting and also a very short week, which we will get to later on. But to start with the series that have been completed, first we have the Raptors versus the Brooklyn Nets. So the Raps take this series, completing the sweep in epic fashion. We won Game 4 150-122, beating our franchise record for most points in a game, playoff and regular season. We also have the NBA record for most points scored by a bench in the playoffs with 100. That was a crazy game. Our starters didn't play too much because we were rolling and we were ahead early. So our bench players got a lot of minutes and a lot of buckets. So that's outstanding to see. That show off our depth a little bit. And this one looked like it was all over before it started. We pretty much outscored them in every quarter except the last. But our offense was pretty much just rolling this game. We were shooting fantastic from the field and from three. We moved the ball well, and we out-rebounded Brooklyn also. Serge and Norm played fantastic this game, leading our bench, which is what we love to see from them, as they are two of our game-changing bench players coming in with that 6th, 7th spot in the rotation. Serge had 27 points and 15 boards on a near-perfect 12 for 14 shooting and 2 blocks. That's special from him. And Norm had 29 points, 5 boards, 2 steals on 9 for 14 shooting. Siakam also contributed with 26 and 10, so a well-rounded game from him, but that 3-ball was still struggling as he shot 1 for 7 from 3. The big thing from this game was that Kyle left early on with a foot injury, which we had declared as a left ankle sprain, caused him to be sidelined from practices the last couple of days, but he did participate yesterday for Friday's practice, so hopefully he'll be better soon. And also, just for this series, the last game especially, shout out to Karis LeVert. He tried keeping the series alive. He had 35, 6, and 6. Fantastic player overall. He was a real threat during this series, leading that team who was very handicapped after losing a lot of their players due to injury and illness. So he obviously did the best he could. Shout out to him for keeping the series interesting. Moving on to the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers series. Boston completed their sweep as well just before the Raptors did a couple hours earlier, and will now face off with them in the next round, which is going to be great to see. In the Game 4, Embiid had 30-point, 10-board performance, but it was not enough to save Philly. I kind of feel bad for the guy. He tried his hardest to keep this team alive, but they just couldn't even steal one game. After each game, it was kind of the same type of interview of, what do you see moving forward? What's your reaction to the game? And, he always kept saying that he's trying his best, and he kept putting up good numbers. He just couldn't get by Boston, and his team wasn't doing enough. He didn't have full cast in Ben Simmons, so I feel bad for the guy, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Do you think there's going to be any big moves in Philly, after this postseason, not drought or postseason disappointment?
When looking at Philly's roster, like the coach Brett Brown said, I think he will keep Embiid and Simmons, which is Elton Brand, the GM, obviously. But I think he will keep Embiid and Simmons. But I do think he will change the pieces around them to try to make them, I think, better 3-point shooters as they're struggling. And guys like Korkmaz, they struggle on the defensive end. Raul Neto, these guys they're decent shooters, they're decent playmakers, but on the defensive end, they really struggle, right? So I think they're trying to put together a more well-rounded team.
Okay. So Kemba, exploded in Game 4 for the Celtics, 32 points, and then Tatum also contributed with 28 points, 15 rebounds. They're obviously two of the biggest threats for the next round versus the Raptors. I personally think those are going to be two guys to watch out for. Tatum is a tough guy to guard, definitely a great young talent with a lot of skill, and Kemba Walker is a proven player in this league, and he continuously in this Philly series has shown that he has been very consistent and very strong offensively. So I think that these two are going to be big threats in the next round versus the Raptors. Adam, what do you think moving forward? Do you think these two are the two to watch? Do you think there's another player that can sneak in there and be a big factor in this series?
Okay, so I'm thinking all three. I think Jaylen Brown kind of has our number with the Raptors. He plays always great against us. He's a 3. He can score from the 3, drive, or mid-range. So which makes it really hard for the defenders to kind of read what he's doing. But I think, yeah, Tatum, Kemba, and Brown are the biggest three threats. And then also coming in with Cantor and Marcus Smart as like the dark horses to kind of make a change in the series for Boston.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown especially, I think, is a great talent and very physical player. Hard person to guard. He's got a good built NBA body, and he can definitely cause some damage, especially against us, as we've seen so far. And we did have that huge blowout loss in the regular season bubble game. So let's see how the Raptors do in this upcoming game Sunday. And this also marks the end of Brett Brown's coaching for the 76ers. Jason Kidd has stated he wishes to be the new head coach there. Clearly, they did do some type of moves, but it's going to be interesting to see what else the GM does going forward with their franchise.
Okay. Moving on to the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers series. The Miami Heat were the third team in the East to complete their sweep, leaving only the Bucks that lost game one. The Heat had multiple players in 20-plus scoring in game three, which is a huge part for the Heat, which obviously proved to be a big problem for Indiana. Butler had 27, Bam had 22, Dragic had 24, and Hero had 20. They're kind of like us, Miami, Gabe, in the same way we kind of run with different guys who can score on different nights. And I think that's kind of the best way to do it because there's no really scouting reports for the other teams to kind of look at because there's so many different guys they have to guard, right? It's not just a primary guy or a secondary guy. There's multiple options. So that's important. The Pacers were down large at half, trailing by 18 points. Heat had 74 points, making it the highest scoring half in playoff franchise history. The Pacers put in a good fight, though, as they cut the lead to 2 points 3 times in the fourth quarter. This was largely due to Malcolm Brogdon's playoff career high 34 points, along with his 7 rebounds and 14 assists. I think Malcolm Brogdon and Drew Holiday are one of the 2 underrated guards in the league that not many people pay attention to, which they need more attention because they're great players. They're not as fancy and they don't make the highlight reel sometimes, but they get the job done, especially on the stat sheet as well. Game 4 was much lower scoring-wise as the game was won by Miami's strong defense. They held an 8-point lead at the start of their fourth quarter and casually closed the game out with the help of a solid bench. The final score was 99-87, and the game can be summarized by one word: rebounding. The Heat out-rebounded 60-34, which is, I mean, it's amazing knowing that they only have Bam and Kelly as their big man, and they have to go against Miles Turner, which is a big task, and they did it well. This marks the end of Nate McMillan's tenure coaching the Pacers. They are now set to likely verse the Bucks, so the bracket is doing good right now. Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic series. Game 3 occurred on the Saturday, right after our Week 4 recap, which saw the Bucks win 121-107, taking a 2-1 series lead following Giannis' 35-11-7 night. This game had a scuffle between Marvin Williams and James Ennis, who both got ejected in the second quarter for exchanging shoves. Ennis was actually in the lineup because Isaac, Gordon, Michael Carter-Williams, and Mo Bamba were all out with a variety of injuries and illnesses. The scuffle occurred during Milwaukee's big controlling point of the game and basically set the tone for the rest. In Game 4's 121-106 win for the Bucks, Giannis had 31 points, 15 rebounds, and an 8-assist performance. The Magic were no match for the Bucks, who played well in each quarter and kept the game far. The Magic suffered from the same injuries and illnesses this game. Middleton finally got out of his slump by scoring 18 out of his 21 points in the final quarter after being 1 for 9 from the field in the first 3 quarters. Giannis reportedly told him to shoot until your arms fall off before the fourth quarter, and that's what he did. I think, it's an important thing for a leader like Giannis to do to his shooters around him, and I'm sure Middleton doesn't really need the advice as being the vet he is, but he knows that he has to keep on shooting and wait for those shots to fall. Vucevic played best for the Magic with a 31-11-7 night. The Bucks-Magic series has not come to an end, though. It's 3-1 right now for Milwaukee after the unexpected boycott of the playoffs following the police shooting of Jacob Blake that happened in Wisconsin. I do not know of all the information of what occurred during the shooting, but it did cause another uproar in the social justice and Black Lives Matter movement in protest of creating more change. The Bucks players decided not to exit the change room for Game 5, forfeiting the game. The Magic went back to their locker rooms also and announced they will not be accepting it as their win. NBA executives and owners were unaware of these actions but supported their teams. This resulted in all of Wednesday's Game 5s to be postponed, along with the following games on Thursday and Friday, last day of a recap. They plan to return this Saturday after a series of votes and meetings in the bubble. This meant that we missed the Raps and Celtics Game 1, but Lowry has more time to rest and recover, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Also, shout out to Giannis for winning the Defensive Player of the Year, which I think Anthony Davis should have won, but Giannis won it. Congratulations to him. Moving on to the Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder series. This was one of the Game 5s we have missed, and it would have been an exciting one as the Thunder tied the series up 2-2. I'm doing pretty well with my bracket right now. Yeah. Hopefully that stays good and intact. In OKC was able to take a 119-107 win in overtime. Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 26 points and 23 points respectively, plus Schroeder added 29 points. So a lot of offensive threats for the Rockets to handle. Harden's 38, 7, and 8 performance was not enough to take a dominating 3-0 lead. He also fouled out near the beginning of OT, so that was devastating for the Rockets offense as they missed the first 7 shots of OT. They kept momentum alive for Game 4, squeaking by with a 117-114 victory. Schroeder and Paul dominated once again with 30 points and 26 points respectively. OKC had a bit of a comeback, being down 15 in the third, but cutting it to a point going into the fourth quarter. This was a result of a 12-point run and a deep buzzer beater 3 by Schroeder to end the quarter. Although the Rockets made some threes late, Hunter hung on with the clutch free throw shooting. Russ is expected to be back for Game 5, so we will see what the changes in the series, what's going to happen in that series, honestly, because this will be a pivotal game for both teams and their future in the playoffs. Gabe, with Russ coming back, how do you think that's going to change Houston's offense? Do you think they're going to run more ISO stuff with both Harden and Russ, or they're going to stick to their three-point shooting offense?
I think that it could be a little more ISO game as you have another ball-dominant player in Russell Westbrook coming on the court, but I think that it's going to help alleviate some of the scoring load off of Harden's shoulders, unless they just both take on the scoring load and the rest of the team suffers from that. I feel like that tends to happen when both of them are on the court, as they both put up 30-plus figure in the points department, and then the rest of the team just doesn't shoot as much. But I think that Harden has to take on this threat a lot by himself, going against OKC, who's fighting and to keep it alive. So I think that Westbrook will be of help to him in alleviating some of that. But I think that it might just be a little more ISO ball. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting because Westbrook has been out for a little bit, so he's got to get back into the swing of things. So maybe that could affect his game. But going back to the brackets, you're on the right track so far. I'm like, okay, Houston's up 2-0. I said, I think they'll close it out. I don't see it coming because it was pretty much blowouts for the first two. But then OKC took the OT, and then the momentum swung, and now we got another game under their belt, 2-2. You're looking pretty solid. And when we get to Denver, Utah, you're also looking decent there as well. Moving on to Lakers Trailblazers series, like the Bucks, the Lakers were able to steal the next 2 wins before the postponement. So currently the Lakers are up 3-1 and look to send Portland home on Saturday. The Lakers won 116-108 in Game 3, and LeBron was an absolute animal this game, scoring 38 points, 12 boards, and 8 assists. And Davis also had 29, 11, and 8 with 2 steals like LeBron, but also 3 blocks. So very well-rounded, dominating games for them. But that's pretty much all for the Lakers. The rest of the players were kind of quiet, although they did contribute a little bit. I think KCP had 12 points. Dame scored 34 points despite a dislocated index finger that he got during that game. And CJ had 28. This wasn't enough as the 3-point game with 9 minutes left started to fall out of their reach because of Davis' sparked takeover that just couldn't be stopped. Game 4 was an even bigger blowout, 135-115. The only person with 20 points was Nurkic. Everyone else had less than that. Dame with only 11 points. So that's obviously not going to get them the win they need when Dave's got that low of a number. Meanwhile, LeBron James, the king, poured out 36 and 10 in only 28 minutes of play. A little bit of a tribute to Kobe Bryant on his birthday. And a lot of people are saying it was a special moment. Even LeBron mentioned it. A very special moment happened during the game. When he looked up at the scoreboard, he saw the score was 24-8. and he felt like Kobe's presence was in the building that day, and he played really well, so clearly a little tribute to him. The Lakers obliterated the first half. It was 80-51, so from there they simply closed it out, just kept it away from the Trailblazers' reach. And now Dame has left the bubble to further examine his knee injury, and because of that, they're most likely he has to quarantine when he comes back in, so basically that means that he will be gone for the future games and pretty much, I guess, the rest of the series. So it's going to be a big struggle for the Trailblazers team to stay within it. I don't see them coming out of it. Losing Dame, especially a big scoring threat for them. I think the next game will probably be a blowout, and the Lakers will just take their talents to the next round.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Blazers, I think physically, skill level, they do not have it against the Lakers, and mentally now, I think they've been beat by the Lakers. Down 3-1. And I don't know if they have that mentality to kind of bring their way back and take it one game at a time, like the Raptors have been doing in their series. So I don't know. I think the Blazers are done, and the Lakers move on there for sure. Moving on to the Denver Nuggets and Utah series, it's looking like my bracket again is right about this one too, as Utah coming back. They carried their strong play to Game 4, where they won 129-127, giving them a 3-1 series lead. What a game this was, as Donovan Mitchell erupted for 51 and Jamal Murray equally erupted for 50 points. These guys have been going back and forth. It's amazing to see these two young stars play well in their series and carry their teams. It was a star showdown that the Jazz were able to get the better of. But Donovan Mitchell has been playing fantastic in this series, 2 plus 50 point performances in the series, only joining Jordan, Iverson, and Chamberlain to ever do so. Mitchell added 4 boards and 7 assists, while Murray made it a double-double with 11 boards and 7 assists. Conley contributed 26 and Clarkson 24, whereas only Jokic put up good supporting numbers for the Nuggets with 29 points and 6 assists. The Jazz shot much better from the field overall, as they took much less shots. The Nuggets kept their season alive in Game 5, though, with a 117-107 win. Mitchell led with 32-5. Whereas Murray led with 42, 8-8, continuing his great play. The domination for the Nuggets was done late in the second half after being down 15 points at one moment of the third quarter. The series is now 3-2, and it will be an exciting matchup as they face off on Sunday. An exciting game.
Yeah, definitely a crazy series to watch. Donovan Mitchell has been exploding, 2 50-plus performances. That's crazy. Obviously, joining great company there. He commented on that, saying, I don't want to be compared to them. I got a lot more work to do to get there, but still great company to be in with a stat like that. And 2 players in one game, 50 points each on opposite teams. That's another crazy thing to think about. And, they have been battling it out. Jamal Murray's been doing a lot for Denver, especially late in the game to clutch games out. Donovan Mitchell has just been exploding left, right, and center. And Murray did get the better of him to keep the series alive, 42-8. That's a huge performance from him. And maybe they will take it in 7 and help me get my bracket a little more right, but it's looking good.
No, I'm good, Gabe. I'm good.
It's looking good. It's looking good for Utah right now. I'm not going to lie. They have been playing great. Conley coming back was huge for them. He's putting up good numbers, and Mitchell has just been absolutely phenomenal, just tearing it up. So that definitely is an exciting series, but one of my favorite series to watch, besides the Raptors, obviously, has to be the Clippers versus Mavericks series. It has been very exciting, very interesting. And we go back to Game 4. Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. I started to spoil the ending, even though we got to go game by game, whatever. But Luka Doncic is unreal. That was an absolutely incredible buzzer beater in OT. An electric moment to win the game, 135-133, and to tie the series up. Wow. Luka had 43, 17, and 13, plus 2 steals. Probably one of the craziest triple-double stat lines I've seen in a playoff game. Sheer dominance from him to carry his team to victory, especially not having Porzingis. He had to literally do it himself. So, wow, just phenomenal.
Luka Magic.
Exactly. Burke and Hardaway Jr., they added 25 and 21 to the scoring category, so good for them, making up for Porzingis' loss. And for the Clippers, once again, their problem, playoff PG was still buried in his slump. He ended with 9 points, 3 for 14 shooting. And then one of the problems for him was in OT, he had a big shot that could have gave I think the Clippers a 4 or 5 point lead, and that probably would have set the tone for the rest of the overtime. but he missed that shot, went the other way, and the Mavericks ended up making a bucket, and the momentum just stayed really tight in that OT. Kawhi and Lou Will, they did carry the scoring load as usual, 32 points and 36 points respectively. Clippers started hot in the first quarter, outscoring the Mavs 34-24, but by the end of the third, we saw the Mavs dominating and taking an 8-point lead, but it became very tight at the end. Kawhi and Lou Will were really fighting to stay alive, hitting deep, clutch shots. Kawhi, a couple of those mid-range pull-ups that we know can be deadly to any team that they're versing, so he definitely kept it alive. But Doncic did bury it, though, with that signature step-back three-pointer. It came out huge in the fourth quarter as well. He was 1 for 7 previously from three, but in the fourth quarter, he hit 2 back-to-back clutch threes on that step-back, and then we saw it come out in OT for the win. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Like, that was unreal performance from him, especially without Porzingis, and that shot, like, when I watched it, I know that, like, I was around my family, and I was, like, in shock, and I was screaming, like, bang, like the commentator said. And I know you were with friends as well. Like, that was just, like, one of the craziest moments that I've got to witness, especially for such a young player like him. Or is it second year in the league, and he already puts up such unreal numbers. Like, he is a once-in-a-lifetime talent that I just, like, we have the pleasure of seeing happen in real time and watching his career in full. It's just phenomenal.
Gabe, if you were the Atlanta Hawks GM, what would you be thinking of passing up on Luka Doncic now, seeing him turn out the way he has been?
Yeah, honestly, Trae Young is still a fantastic player. So obviously, like, you don't want to disrespect him too much. He's been playing great for them, but hasn't done enough, to help them get to where they need to be, like Luka has. But I think obviously Luka is the much better player overall, generational talent. He can literally do everything. He's got a great sized body. He has strength for not the tallest or biggest player in the court, but he has strength for that guard position. He can drive hard. He can hit tough shots. He's very clutch. He's a efficient so pass first guard. He rebounds well, puts up great numbers. He literally does everything. And I think it maybe stems from playing professional basketball since he was 16 for Real Madrid. I think that might have helped him, like, get to where he needs to be in terms of staying poised, staying confident, the experience aspect of professional basketball. I think that helped him a lot. So obviously, if you're that Atlanta Hawks GM, you would have loved to have that talent, especially for making the trade. But, Trae Young is still a great player. Obviously, if that's what they felt they needed, good. But I think Luka obviously is like the LeBron James of that draft class. It's like you took Dwayne Wade, but you could have had LeBron. It's like, okay, obviously you needed Luka. So obviously he's probably disappointed at some point, but he's going to have to ride it out for his franchise. Okay, so going forward now, Porzingis, still a problem that he's out. It was a problem that he was gone in Game 5, and I think he's going to be out for the rest of the series with a meniscus tear, I believe. So in Game 5, it was a big problem. They got blown out 154-111. Doncic was the only player above 20 this game for the Mavs with 22 points. Kawhi put up 32, and Playoff P finally arose. He actually showed up. He led the Clippers, 35 points, 12 for 18 shooting, so 67%. So, finally he's been in a horrible slump, and a lot of people were starting to make jokes that, Playoff P, that used to be his nickname because he would perform very well in the playoffs. He finally, did what he's supposed to do and play well for the Clippers, and you can tell the difference of when he's playing that well, how much better the Clippers can do on the court. He's gone out to speak about that slump, saying that it was a result of his mental health and, like, everything going on, the pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement, being in such a confined space with these people in the bubble. He said that it was very hard for him, which obviously, difficult for him and sad to hear that, but it's good to see him, return to the court playing well and, producing the numbers he's supposed to. They basically outscored the Mavs in every quarter, blowing them out in the first and last one, so making this game way out of reach. Dallas coach Rick Carlisle got ejected in the third quarter, and this game included 6 technical fouls and a flagrant one, so it got very rough. We also saw what appears to be Marcus Morris intentionally stepping on Luka Doncic's injured ankle, which he denied was on purpose because he said, I don't play that way and I just try to win and stuff, but it looked pretty intentional.
It was on purpose, just letting you know, but it was on purpose, but for sure.
It looked pretty intentional to me. Like, it was a clear step, and he knows that that's his bad ankle. So I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing intentional injuries like that. But hopefully Luka can, get some revenge in Game 6, tying it up. So
yeah, but Gabe, it also was unfortunate that it was the foot that Luka injured too. So I think it was an intentional thing, but that he wanted to do. So I don't know.
Yeah, the Clips are up 3-2 now. They're looking to end Dallas's playoff hopes on Sunday. So we will see if Luka can get the better of them once again. He's going to have to do it alone. So if he can pull off a spectacular performance like he did in Game 4, run it back for Game 6, once again tie up the series and send it to 7, that would be fantastic, especially to watch as a fan of this series. Especially it's going to be a great matchup if they perform well. And hopefully Doncic can get that revenge on Marcus Morris. And personally, I think he's just a phenomenal player. I love watching him. I know a lot of us do, like us basketball fans. So I'm rooting for him in this one, especially because Kawhi is, kind of our enemy now. So let's just hope Luka can somehow pull out a miracle. All right. I think that is pretty much it. We hope you all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. We are available on YouTube with visuals. We're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts to hear this full experience. This was our Week 5 recap. Obviously, it was a little bit shorter than usual, but that's because of the unexpected circumstances with the boycott. Now that we're returning back to basketball, it's going to be interesting for our Week 6. We're going to start fresh with especially the Boston Raps series. Can't wait to watch that game tomorrow on Sunday. I think it's 3:30 Eastern. So going to be a definitely showdown.
It moved to 1, Gabe. It moved to 1 p.m.
Okay. So 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Going to be a crazy matchup. I can't wait to watch it. We're definitely going to have a lot to say about that one. Let's just hope the Raps can somehow, get this done maybe in 6, 7, 5. Who knows? Let's just hope that we get out of here alive. Okay.
I just have one more thing to say, Gabe. Okay. I just want to thank all the supporters and all the people liking and commenting and viewing our content on the account.
Instagram too.
At 5,000, and it's I'm very supportive and thankful that we have such good people in the GTA and around the world listening and liking our content. So we will continue to provide the best content on IG for the Raptors and NBA news.
Yeah. Find us on Instagram at Rapzville for what we are talking about now. Instagram page, we're posting content news every day, up-to-date stuff, some box scores when the games are on. So if you want to tune in there, please do so as well. We're almost at 5K, road to 5K, so let's get that there. And yeah, we hope you all enjoyed. That's us signing out. Peace.
Peace.